Hi there, this is Gary with Draiochta Labs. I'm here to kind of help you through the character generation process for our role-playing game Draiochta. Today I'll be helping you build a Scythix, which is one of our races. It is a lizard folk race. They're a bit heavier and a little more durable than a lot of the other races we have. So first things first, we'll start by giving a quick rundown of who and what he will be. So here, we'll fill out this section over here, minus the movement speeds, which will be affected by what he's wearing. In Scythix, as his race, give him a weight of about 180 pounds. And we'll make him 6'6", so bigger. We'll give him just plain black eyes, and he will be bald. Alright. And then our races are found in our player's guide. Starting on page 25 with this Sharkov. The Scythix themselves are actually on page 33. And then in each one of the race sections, you will find both a description of what the character is, like what the race is traditionally for size and height and things of that nature, as well as their gameplay mechanics of their bonus strength, their attributes, and skills that they're better at, and things of that nature. They also all have like a brief kind of moment in the life of their backstory and such, which kind of gives you a feel for the race and its place in the world. So, making a Scythix. There's a Scythix. We're going to be making a male Scythix. So he will have a bonus of 10 strength and 5 endurance. So first things first, we'll start, actually second in this case, we'll start out by filling his attribute figures out, which are right there. And then we will be using the standard build for character generation, which can be found on page 22. These are your traditional points, and these are your normal build points. So this is most likely your character will at start fall into one of these categories. Most of the time we build standard characters. That is just our preferred as developers. It's up to your GM where exactly your place or your playgroup will lie. So let's build a standard character, which is at the top. So we've got 60 attribute points, just split between the 5 attributes, which will give us 12 apiece. So we'll put 12 points into all of them. Make them a nice, pretty even across the board. And then, as well as their base racial bonuses, which all races get, you also, all of your attributes and skills start at a skill of 5, or start with 5 points into them. So we need to add another 5 to all of these as well. So, 27, 17, 18, 22. So the ones on the end there The ones on the end there are this character's actual attributes or stance. Now that we have the character's attributes figured out, that opens up the range for a lot more of the default character attributes, because obviously the attributes are your default character's physical attributes. So we can determine your hit points, which are found right here, as well as your spell points, which are found right here. And your hit points are determined by your strength plus your endurance, or in this case 49. And your spell points, which is your knowledge plus your endurance divided by 2, which in this case will come up to 19 after we round down and such. One thing I should note is there's an area right here for racial abilities and talents, wherein right here for racial abilities, right there for racial abilities and talents, where you can put in your race-specific specials, which for specifics would be a venom shot if they're male, as well as a natural armor boost. Alright. And then we can also determine at this point the character's initiative, which is right there underneath its lift and its carry, which we'll figure out in just a second. And then its lift will be its strength plus its dex plus its endurance, which for this guy will come up to 68. And then its carry will be that number divided by 2. Now we can figure out his attribute figures, which are located right here, which are one of the biggest influencing factors in your gameplay in normally. Your attributes, which we assigned earlier, are your base character's individual attributes, like just how strong they are, or how smart they are, things of that nature. But generally speaking, anything your character will ever try to do, just like in real life, anything you do is not just an expression of just strength. If you try to hit someone with a sword, it's not just an expression of strength, it's also an expression of knowledge and intellect, as well as your dexterity. Both to be able to swing the sword strong enough to be able to hit people, but dexterous enough, or strong enough to do damage, but dexterous enough to be able to hit people, as well as your raw intellect to think of new things to do to try to outsmart them, to be able to hit them, and knowledge of past events to try to foresee what's coming and know things that you can do and have worked in the past. So with that in mind, all of our skills, rather than using a single attribute to modify them or make them better, or draw on an effect to really display how effective they are, they use an average of several different ones, and those will be called your attribute figures. So we'll fill those out now. And to do that, it'll give you several attributes and ask you to add them together and divide by obviously the number of them there are. So we'll quick fill those out. Alrighty then. Now that we've got our attribute figures and our attributes and our health and everything else, right now our character is about as complete as it would be if, say, your character had amnesia, had really no history at all, no learning, no skills, just naked in the world. So we'll go about and try to fill in his past a bit now. So he'll have some one-handed blunt skills, because that is the traditional weapons of the Slithics. And then we'll start out by filling out the combat and magic skills, I should say. So combat skills will be right in the middle there, as well as your defensive skills, which are below. And then your magic skills, which everyone has, are going to be right here. So, we'll go through and fill them out. Keep in mind that all of your skills do in fact start at 5. So keep that in mind while you're putting your points in them, because it's a fact that's forgotten a lot and it can relatively drastically affect your gameplay. Weapons, he'll use a one-handed blunt, primarily. He'll also have a one-handed slashing weapon. Just in case he manages to lose his blunt weapon. That'll most likely be a dagger or something of the like. We'll purchase that later when we get to the purchasing section. So, also, including his racial bonuses and such, his one-handed blunt will come out to 47, and his slash will come out to 24. To determine this, take 5, plus the requisite attribute figures, which for one-handed blunt weapons would be his SDIK, which his character's SDIK is 19, plus however many points you want to put in. Using the standard build, you can only put a total of 15 points in any given skill, plus his bonus, which we add all together, which will give us his skill of 47. How that will affect how he plays in game means that when he rolls his D100 or his percentile die to do anything, he has to roll under a 47 to succeed in hitting things with his club or mace or whatever else it might be. So, in this case, he would have succeeded because I managed to roll a 33. Bonk things on the head. Cool. So, I'm continuing to fill these out. And he'll have a 22 for a dodge, as well as a 47 for his shield skill. One thing to note, the combat skills and such are write-in skills. This is because we have a wide range of different weapon types that we can use, and it's not always necessary, and in fact most times it's highly unlikely that one character will use all of them. So rather than giving you the full list, we gave you room to write in as many as you need. But with that being said, even if it's not on your character sheet, you can still use the skill. Most of your combat skills do use the SDIK, and then they'd still get your bonus default 5 for skills. And if you decide to stick with the weapon and carry around the polearm that you found but never thought you'd use through many adventures and get better with it, you can still go up skill ranks with it like you would any other skill. And then when determining skills, you can have, if you should follow my logic wherein I generally want to be about as skilled as I can be at any given point in time with as most of the skills as I can, you can completely maximize with a standard build 13 skills, and that includes your armor and weapon skills, as well as your magical skills. So we'll go through and fill in his skills down below here, which will make him who he is. And this guy is going to be a little bit of an apothecary. So we'll put 15 points into there, which will boost his apothecary when all said and done to about 37. We'll also boost his animal handling and his climbing. As well as his fast draw and his fishing skills on this column here. So, you'll also choose to focus in natural history, navigation, tracking, And then on top of that, we'll also want to make sure to put points in his magic skills up top, which are right there. Those are his magic skills. And for that, this guy will choose to focus in water magic and fire magic. So he'll have a 38 for fire magic and a 43 for water magic. And this will give us a total of 13 skills at max. And then this remainder here, which is going to be his one-handed slash from earlier, he has had to resort to his dagger a bit, so that one's going to go up the remainder of 3 points that you have if you put 15 points into all of your skills, or 15 points into 13 of your skills, I should say. You have a couple of extra to divvy out when it's all said and done. So this one will come to a 29. And then it's up. We're pretty much ready to go. So at this point, all his character skills, all the ones that have things written in on them, are the points in this character's life that he's decided to focus on. Those are all things that skills that he's utilized heavily in his past, before the character was created. The rest of the skills on the sheet, which I left blank blank in the past, those are things that he can still obviously do in the future while you're actually playing the character, but those are things he did not use extensively in his past. So we'll go through and fill all those in as well. Those ones will have the base 5 plus the attribute figure, but they will not have any additional bonus points, because those represent things your character is focused and trained in the past. These are just his default skills. So. Alright. So, with all of your skills filled out, it looks something a little bit more like this. And then for the combat skills, after you determine this, anything over 25 will get a special ability or a specialization. These are things that add a little bit of variety to the combat. They're not necessary to use, but they are quite fun, generally speaking. Your specializations will be found on page... The specializations start on page 89. Right there. You get them for all of your combat skills, so both your weapons and your armor and dodging and such. So this guy will be skilled enough in both his one-handed blunt and his shield skills in order to be able to use specializations. So for his one-handed blunt weapon, we'll give him the skill of Calculated Strike. And for his shield, we'll give him the ability to turtle, which is a total defensive action, which will increase his chance of being able to block with his shield. So, now we've got our character's skills, what he's good at, all that. So at this point, our character is pretty much as if he was naked, but someone robbed him on the side of the road, took everything he had. He still has all his knowledge, but he doesn't have much to do. So to determine what kind of gear he gets and stuff like that, we need to go on a little bit of a shopping spree. To determine how much money you start with, you take your highest crafting skill and multiply it by 10, and you get that amount in silver. Now this guy's highest crafting skill is his apothecary, right there, of 37. and which will give him 370 silver pieces. And so we'll go in the book to the portion that's filled with all sorts of goodies. We'll start out by buying him a good mace. Equipment starts on page 103. We'll start out by buying him a good mace, which will cost him 90 silver, and it will start dealing a d8 damage. We'll also give him a dagger as a backup, just in case he loses his weapon, or loses his club, or mace, which the dagger will do a d6 damage and run him 20 silver pieces. Then you'll also have a light chain shirt on, as well as some leather greaves or breeches, as it were. So, the light chain on his chest will give him a DR4 normally, but seeing as his aesthetics, and he has a natural armor bonus of 2 to all of his DR, he'll end up with 6 DR on his chest, which DR is damage reduction, so you take that number off the top of any damage dealt to you and reduce it down to a minimum of 1. And then his legs will have the leather, which is normally a DR1, so he'll have DR3 on his legs. He's kind of a meathead and wants to give people a good look at his pretty face, so he'll leave that open, as well as his big muscular arms, so he'll leave those open as well too. So his head and his arms have just the base DR of 2. Then, taking into consideration the armor he's wearing, we can add up its penalties of a total of 25% and apply that to his movement. Because he doesn't lose at least 3 feet of movement, 25% of his base 9 is actually 2 and a remainder. His movement does not actually change. He will end up with a 9-foot walk, an 18-foot run, and a 27-foot sprint. So, we've got all of his combat gear. Oh, aside from his shield, forgot about that almost. Buy him a shield. And that shield will give him a small shield, and that'll run him 60 silver as well. So, all told, between the shield and the mace and the dagger and the armor and all of that, the purse is quite a bit lighter. And now we're going to now, all told, between the purse and the dagger, between the armor and the shield and his weapons, his purse is quite a bit lighter. But we're gonna see what else we got to buy. So, we're gonna give him 5 health potions. That's crafted by an apothecary maker of 25 skill. So, these are potions that he himself could make, or attempt to make, if he had the materials. And during character creation, if your GM allows, you can attempt to buy the materials and craft them yourself. It costs half as much if you do this way. But if you fail, obviously you don't actually end up with the item. So it's a bit of a gamble, but it gives you access to a little bit more at the start if you're willing to take a chance. So And then Apothecary will be located, or those potions are located in the Apothecary section. Which starts on page 85. So, give him the rest of his list. We'll also give him an animal call, some fishing supplies, a clankers, a fishing pole to use the supplies, about 30 feet of rope, a backpack, and a water skin. So, all told, this character's pretty much done. He's got just about everything he needs. And then obviously I wrote in his gear off to one side. His stats are all through a section. You can also choose to write it on a separate piece of paper. It is useful to keep a scratch piece of paper around during character creation. I had already created many characters, so I had a grasp of how much everything costed and where all my skills were going and things of that nature, how many points I was going to put into each. But it is useful to have a secondary scratch piece of paper to write down numbers and things of that nature. So, when all said and done, this character's 370 silver he started with is going to go down to 58 silver and 895 copper. For every 1,000 copper pieces is equal to 1 silver piece, and the same all the way through. So 1,000 silver is equal to a gold, and so on and so forth. So, character's just about ready to play. Oh, he just needs a name. We'll call this guy Derek. And he's about ready to go. So, there's the character sheet, and he's ready to go. So, thanks for giving me your time. Hopefully this made some small amount of sense, and